I'm here today with my good friend, Alexis Fischer. Alexis is a trainer, a fitness instructor, a dancer, and just all those things aside, an amazing, encouraging, inspiring human being. She's just provided so much encouragement to me in my life. We actually met. We were working at the same job together, and we'll get into this. But for me personally, it was a very dark season, and Alexis helped me get through. So I'm so excited to have her on today and just talk about, how she finds that encouragement and motivates herself and others during hard times. So welcome, Alexis.
Thank you. That was so sweet. I can't believe how long we've been friends.
It's been crazy.
Pretty much the entire time I've lived here. How long have you lived in LA?
I lived in LA. I moved
because you went to UCLA. That's right.
Yeah, so I moved to LA like 7 years ago. And you moved, how long ago did you move to LA?
A little over 3. So I feel like we've been friends pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, because I think I met you. So Alexis was a teacher at a studio called Body by Simone, and I met you when I was taking your class, I think.
Yeah.
And then
and at the time you didn't work there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I was just taking classes there, and then I eventually started working at Body by Simone. And we had some early morning shifts. We were like,
oh my God,
there at 4 a.m. and Alexis and I were just
cheers. Like, good morning.
Yeah.
How much sleep did you get last night?
Like 0. Yeah. But like what was cool about that is like you were working like so many different studios and working like, I mean, you can get into what you were doing and kind of what your journey has been, but you are just like still are the hardest worker I know. And I feel like we were both just in grind mode during that season. And sometimes like when you're working and building something, like you don't necessarily see the fruit of it yet. So we were both kind of like, where's the light at the end of this tunnel? But 2020 obviously has been a crazy year for everyone, but I've just loved watching you flourish. Like you truly have pivoted with the changes. And I feel like all the hard work that you put in over the years is now breaking through this year. And I think sometimes people see like an overnight success, but I've seen all the years of hard work and dedication you put in. And so anyone that's like watching this, Alexis is like leading hundreds of thousands of people in her online platform. Tell everyone a little bit about that.
Okay. Thank you. You're so sweet. So yeah, like you said, everyone sees the quick overnight success that they have seen via probably Instagram. But honestly, for the whole 3 years that I lived in LA, like it was not, I mean, like that I have been doing the fitness world out here. It's been nonstop. I look back and I think, wow, like I didn't feel necessarily cheated, but I always felt like I was the underdog. I always felt like I had to, and I was young and in a majority of like late 20s, early 30s, I was like early 20s. And so I always felt like I had to prove myself. I had to show people that like, I can do this and take me seriously kind of concept, because a lot of the clients are a little bit older as well. And I would go to every free event. I would show up to anything and everything to, meet people. I love learning. I think the greatest lesson that I've learned in LA is to always be a teacher, or always be learning, always be a student, excuse me. I always learn from other people. Right. I absolutely love that concept. And I think it'll get you as far as you want to go in anything. And I'm even right now I'm learning on a reformer, so that's exciting.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I've been shadowing someone in LA twice a week.
Wow.
And learning to get certified in reformer, because I absolutely love expanding my knowledge, and you never know where these doors can open and can take you if you have the tools in the toolbox. So anyways, basically through Instagram over 2020, I've been able to really just harness into what I've been doing over the past 3 years and show it to more of the world. Really, it was a small little LA community, and it's really hard for people to see what you do just through Instagram if you weren't putting things out there. And I started to put out little IGTVs for people, and then started doing Instagram lives, as every trainer did. throughout the year, but something really just clicked with me. I think because of my background in dancing and performing growing up, I like being on screen. I like, it's almost like a performance. So I get really intense, and my dancing was always really like intense as well. So I think that's kind of where the intensity comes from. And I'm just a hard worker.
Yeah.
I really thrive, and manifesting generator is my human design, and I go. But like you said, we definitely grind, and it's really hard for me to find the balance of when to down. Like even right now, I've had a few days off through the holidays, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we
So
need to, I want to
yeah,
talk to you for more about that, because I think that's something that I struggle with as well. And I think the thing that we always really were drawn to with each other and like resonated with each other is we both work really hard, but the other side of that coin is it's hard to rest. And like, I think your
100%.
body gets confused sometimes because you're so used to going, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden you stop, and it like, for me at least, produces this anxiety, which that's not
100.
healthy either. Like if I feel
No.
anxious when I'm not doing
Yeah,
anything, like something's wrong.
yeah.
But yeah, I think everything you said too about like, because you're a hard worker, that's why your classes, anyone listening to this, if you want to have like the best workouts, it's so deceiving because you think it sounds like it'll be easy, like, oh, Pilates, oh, dance, cardio, but you can always tell when the teacher is
100%.
a hard worker themselves, because they will take an easy workout and somehow Alexis kills me in like 15 minutes. I did your 15-minute like cardio thing the other day home, and I was panting like I ran a marathon. It was insane. So that's like a little, and everyone watching this, if you need a good
Is that
workout,
the IGTV
check
cardio
it out.
one?
Yeah. But I do think what has been so great to see is like everything you were doing on your IGTVs in the beginning of quarantine, and even before all this happened, you have like such a service mentality. Like you always are trying to like help other people and inspire other people. And so prior to COVID, like you said, there's a small community who like saw that and like me, but you didn't ask anything in return from that. But what has been cool, and I think what has been the key to your success, just as like an outsider's humble perspective, is that
Yeah.
like you did put those videos up to like give people encouragement and light in like a really crazy
Right.
time. And that connected with people. And now you have, how many people do you have like subscribing to your and tuning into your stuff? Because I
I'm
know
not sure
that
if I have an exact number for my on demand.
it's
But
it's a lot.
it's a
Like whenever
lot.
I've done your Zoom classes, I feel like there's like hundreds of people on there.
Yeah,
And
I feel very, very grateful for. I honestly like don't know how it happened. I mean, I
yeah,
do, but
right.
the community is so strong. It's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for these people who trust me as their leader. And
Yeah.
my saying that has kind of been coined into the little term that we all say is yes you can, yes you will, and it was
Mhm.
something that really naturally flowed out of my
Yeah.
mouth in the beginning days of quarantine, just when shit was hard and
Yeah.
everyone was like what are we supposed to do, and it just naturally came out. And it's really cool that so many people resonated with it. I think just
Mhm.
because it's so simple, but
Mhm.
it's something that they can stick
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I feel like you used to say that when I took like your in-person classes too. Like I don't.
100%. Like you know me, I have this fiery, like
Yeah.
I don't know what's inside of me that makes me just want to like, but like
Yeah.
it's inside of me. I don't know how to
Right.
explain it.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my questions for you that I want, like, if anyone's listening to this and maybe they have a passion that they've been working towards, like for you, it was like building your fitness platform, but also you're a dancer. So you can talk a little bit about how you've balanced those two and how that has kind of transformed and how your goals have shifted. But I think a lot of people might have this dream or this calling that they want to pursue, and it gets really hard. So, like, I know a lot of it is just how you are and like internally, but what are some things that like you've held on to and that have helped you as you've built your business and you've gone on this journey of creating something bigger than yourself?
Mhm. I think if any dancers are listening, any performers, anyone that is getting into their older career years, letting go of the identity of being a dancer was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Was someone asked, what do you do? And for me to not say I'm a dancer was like, whoo, like took my breath away. I get chills just like thinking about it, because it was just who I was for literally my entire life. I'm a dancer. That's what I do. So to let go of that was extremely emotional. But going back to what I told you is that always being a student, I think that is my number one goal and key that I've learned in anything that you do. Always learning, always like wanting more information. And then the second thing is that giving is always greater than receiving. And that's something that I have learned 100% through this year. And there's times where my ego gets in the way and I'm like, maybe I should be making more money. Maybe I should like be, like wanting to like go down the route of monetary wise. But something always draws me back to like giving of myself. And it's hard because we're all humans. We all want nice things, but there was actually a TikTok that I saw the other day, and it was like a doctor, a COVID doctor who's been going through all of this. And it was really depressing and really sad. And it basically just said like 9 things that every COVID patient who is dying has said to me. And it was, I wish I had spent more time with my kids. I wish that I didn't wait till tomorrow to get something that I want accomplished. I wish I traveled more. I would, all of these things. And it's so freaking true that like the end of your day, like you're not gonna like look at your riches and be like, oh yes, like people remember you about how you make them feel. And so that's something that I think I will always live by. And I think in any career, any job that you do, like it doesn't matter how minuscule it is. If you have an impact on others in in their daily life, like you're winning.
I love that. And I think like it sounds so cliche, but everyone says this, and I've heard this so many times. It's like, if you do what you love, like the money will follow. And like, if you make other people and build other people up, I think like whatever you believe, God, I believe in God, the universe, like will bless you. But like, if you're only searching after money, then I feel like that's not good for your soul and your well-being, because then you get anxious about the littlest things. But it also
100%.
is not sustainable, and people really sense authenticity. So when they see that you're authentically there to inspire and encourage and motivate them, they want to follow that and they trust that, especially in a year where like everything has been so shaken up and we don't know what to trust, and everything we thought we knew has been shaken. I think we're really looking for authenticity and human connection. And that's what has been so beautiful about this time, is seeing people like the community that you're creating and leading. And just as a friend, being able to see also like that is what you've worked for even before COVID. And I think it's really funny. I think life has a funny sense of humor, that sometimes like the things that we've been praying for and the things that we've been working so hard for are answered in a world pandemic.
100%. I am so grateful for this year. I think what's been cool for this year is that I was always working for other people. I was always, and I'm not saying that working for yourself is the goal. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to, be a single person business. But what I do think is very important that I learned is that you have to have your own identity in whatever you're doing. You can't, always be constantly like under someone and not know who you are and what your brand is. In whatever career, you have to have you as a brand and what you offer. And I didn't really think I knew who I knew inside of me, but like I didn't believe it because I didn't have the quote unquote followers and like the, millions of people
that the world wants to put on you as what's successful.
100%. So I think if you're, I see so many young girls who are following me that are starting their like wellness accounts and like all of these things, and they might have only, 100 followers. It doesn't matter if you have something important or meaningful or you're passionate about it, like let that be a side job. But it's so important to, just stay authentic and true to what lights you up,
Yeah. I was going to tag on to that. So you actually mentioned this before of letting go of your identity as a dancer. And that resonates so much with me because it's funny, like being a dancer or an artist, and for me, I'm an actor, you technically don't work for anyone. And so you're in that mindset of like being an entrepreneur in a way. But
Yeah.
even attaching labels to your identity, such as actor or dancer, can be so limiting in a way that you don't even realize until you've like let go of that burden. And I think the fact that you had such an emotional experience with that is kind of shows that, but it's so freeing in a way because it opens you up to other things that you're not just a dancer, you are a
100%.
dancer, and like, but you had to let go of that as your primary identity for all these other things in your true identity to come to the surface. And so I think no matter what you do, whether you work for yourself or you work for someone else, putting your identity not in what you do, but who am I and what do I offer to this world? That is something that I've really walked through too as an actress. And like, it's funny, I actually had this moment in June where I was about to like pay my tuition for my acting class online again. And I just really strongly felt like I'm not supposed to do this right now. And I was like, I remember I was taking a shower and I was just bawling my eyes out. And I felt like I was like I felt like God was asking me to just put my acting career like on the table. And so I just didn't pursue it. And I had already, like, since the beginning of quarantine, wasn't doing acting whatsoever. And I really was focusing on this human trafficking film that I've been producing. And there was just this whole journey of like, I put it to the side, but then at the perfect time when I had like fully surrendered it, then I got like a huge audition. And like ever since then, I've been having like really big opportunities with that. And I think it's so important because, like you might get that big dream role for me, when you might book your dream, dancing gig and have like a flourishing dancing career. But if your identity and your worth has been put in that happening, then that's actually not going to bring you the true happiness that it.
So true. That gives me chills. It's so true. Like you can't wait for this to happen or this to happen, or you have. Wow. And I love that.
And I want you to just like tangibly give some advice too, and like what your journey has been like throughout this year, because I think that has been a key to your success, is being able to pivot. Like, I think you pivoted so well and just kind of followed the flow of like what was happening this year and worked really hard, and you stayed present. I think that comes down to it a lot too, is being able to embrace your identity and like not put it on external things comes down to being present, because things are always changing. So if you're holding on to a past idea of what you thought you were, what you thought you were supposed to be, it's going to limit you. And I think I saw with you this year, you were so present, and through that you were able to pivot. So can you explain a little bit about like what that journey's been like building this business this year, and also challenges you've had and what that's all looked like for you?
Love to share the challenges. Because it's all fun and dandy on Instagram, but no one sees
you don't see the behind the scenes.
BTS. So like I said earlier about my human design, I've done a lot of work with that. If you're not familiar, wherever you were born, the time, the date, your first and last name, all aligns with the universe, and certain geography points make up who you are. And so there's 5, I believe, different types. Do you know what yours is?
Is that the thing that was like, I hate to be this person, that it was like everyone was posting on their Instagram stories? It was like a generator thing of like, you know what I mean?
No, that was like a cosmic, like, oh, tell me where I am. Yeah. Similar, but no, this is like old school. You can do it for free, but then there's like more in-depth ones that, I've read a book, you pay. Anyways, I'm a manifesting generator. There's certain areas of my, where I work best. And so I know, basically, long story short, we're not going to go into it because it's kind of confusing. I know how I work best. And I know how I need, exactly what you said, like how I pivot. So I just go, and that's how I get things done. I don't like to sit and like, think about things, and, contemplate. I just go. So really, when the whole Instagram live started happening, I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to do it. And I love abs, that I love doing core work. So I just started doing these like Monday abs, and
with Chrome Guy.
with Chrome Guy, bless his heart. He dreaded those Monday abs, but I was trying to draw in. I know, I was trying to draw in a male audience, which I think it did work, because a lot of girls tell me their brothers do it with them. You know what I mean? Like,
at Pilates in Santa Monica, the girl brought her boyfriend. So all the men listening.
I loved that. Yes, hop on it.
Yeah.
He's trying to be a firefighter, which I thought's adorable. So she's dragging him along.
That's awesome.
So yeah, the ups have been incredible. I mean, I think, like I said, I've always felt inside of me that like I felt like I was a leader. I felt, this calling to have a platform, but I didn't have it. And so I look back on my like memories on Instagram, and I see like how timid I was, because and it sucks that you need the validation of quote unquote followers or people, like, because you see all these celebrities like living in their power, and it's like, yeah, they had like 2 million followers, like, of course, like, everyone loves them, and they can do that. They can post a silly photo of the beach and it be fine. But so it is frustrating that you need validation by followers. But I'm very grateful that I did it in like a very organic and like true way, because now all of these people that do follow me are like real and honest and like invested, which is so nice and so humbling to know that they're all there and, with me. But there's been a lot of bumpy roads. Technology wise, I know everyone's had to deal with technology issues, but just really I basically through this year have built a website. I have built an on-demand platform. I have created newsletters. I have, done Zoom live, everything you could think of, Instagram lives, Instagram IGTVs, now Reels, everything that the world technology wise has thrown at me, I have attempted. I'm actually getting pretty good at newsletters right now, which is pumping me up. And I have led a challenge with over 300 male, female participants in October. And I'm actually doing one for January 1st. I'm so excited.
I'm signing up. Yay! I'm so excited. I was still like sick and weak from COVID during your October challenge, so I couldn't.
I know. Bless your heart.
Now.
You're back. So it's 15 days. I know it's very cliche to like jump into January, but for me, like I really have always struggled in January because it's so like such a calm down from the holidays. And I feel like, the fact that we have a new year ahead of us is really exciting. So I'm really just selfishly for myself trying to just jumpstart into like at least the first 15 days really clear. And I mean, you always look back on your January of, what were you doing in the beginning of the year? How did you enter the new year? So I'm excited for 15 days of just strong, mindful. There's going to be obviously a class, but as well as like a workshop, tons of great breath work, meditation, food, everything. We're going to do like a release workshop where you kind of like let go of everything from 2020. Just very excited for that. So and then one big downfall, I'm obviously not going to like name the company, but this is kind of what happens when you start to find this success, is that I had a really major company reach out to me. I want to say 2 months ago, maybe. Went through the whole process of kind of understanding what they had to offer me and back and forth the Zoom calls. And I was so honored by the big wig company reaching out to me that I was blindsided. I totally just was like, oh my gosh, yes, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to keep up with everyone. And this is kind of the downfall of my design, is that I just keep going. I keep going. And I don't always take a second to, reflect. And I basically signed a contract with them to create an app and a new online platform that was mine. So exciting, you know, what an accomplishment, blah, blah, blah. Then kind of moving forward, realized that I'm making a big mistake. This is kind of,
No, I'm
trying to
tracking.
be,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be sensitive with what I say. But I basically didn't do any work with them. I just signed the contract. And then I said, okay, you know what? I'm not ready for this. Too many steps forward. I need to like slow it down a little bit. Went back and emailed them. And basically they told me I signed a binding contract and that I owed a huge chunk of money. Like either I followed through and we like, you know, or I had to pay the money, and like that was that.
Wow.
I sobbed. It was like horrible, like for someone, a small business owner who's worked so hard to just make a certain amount of money to now basically owe all of that to them was like dagger in my heart. And obviously there's, you know, there's always ways that you can work with people and talk about things. They had done zero work for me. The only things we had done is Zoom calls, just back and forth. Just, we want you, you know? So anyways, I ended up having to pay 1/4 of what I did originally owe. Still a big chunk of money. It was, but long story short, a huge lesson learned in my life as an entrepreneur is, you know, always read the whole document first of all. Have like 5 friends before you sign anything. Always read. And just, you know, just because all of these, you know, things are happening for you doesn't mean you have to do it. Doesn't mean that you have to be the best and be the top right here, right now. It's a very humbling experience for me too. And it was probably the lowest point of my journey throughout this.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that happened, but I think that like as you're on this journey of leveling up and like growing, I think there's naturally going to be like stumbling blocks and valleys.
100.
But the question is, are you going to get up from that and are you going to return stronger? And I think I've personally walked through things like that in my career too. Especially as an actor, like actors in the entertainment industry have like the least power until you make it, so to speak. But then you're expected to like hold your power in certain situations. So it can be, and that's what, getting back to identity, having it be so important of like, what's my value? Then you can walk into a room and say no to a company, even if they're big, or to say no to a director that's asking me to do something that I don't agree with. That actually, at the end of the day, saying no sometimes gains more respect from those people. But if you say yes and you make a mistake, there's always something to be learned from that too. So I feel like sometimes you have to learn the hard way, and sometimes there has to be like a tangible loss for you to really like get it, because I bet you down the line there might be an even bigger mistake that you could have made with even bigger
100%
losses. So again, I love that you just have that mentality of I'm going to keep going, because a lot of people would have probably been really discouraged by that and been like, why am I even doing this?
No, my first initial thought when that happened was, how am I going to make this money back? Like, let's go. Like, I need to like earn this back and like prove that like it's going to be okay. And I think what you said is so true. Like, you really know, walking into a room knowing your worth. And I think not the old me, but like, you know, I have developed a lot through this year. And I think the insecure and maybe like self-doubting me in my career would have walked into that room, you know, and been like, of course, exactly what I did. Like, oh my gosh, yes, of course. Like, I need to do this. Like, but like knowing my worth now and knowing like what they were offering me was ridiculous and everything. Like, so I had to go through that to really, you know.
Right. I mean, the fact that you were even able to realize after you had signed the contract, I'm worth more than this, and being able to say no to a big company with the financial loss, that's scary, but it speaks
100.
to the level of like, you knowing your worth. So I'm sorry that happened, but I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay. So you also said something really important that I want to circle back to about feeling like you need followers to make any kind of impact. I've definitely felt that way too. And I think what I've started to focus on is if I can inspire or impact just one person by what I'm doing with this, that's like
Yep.
makes the work more than enough. But I also think what's been really cool about what you've gone down in this gone, what I think has been really cool about this journey that you've gone through of building followers through this year, it's all people that like naturally align and resonate with what you're doing. And I feel like sometimes that 2 million follower person, it's not as aligned. And there's more room for like them feeling like they can't be their authentic self, maybe because they're afraid of losing followers or afraid of getting negative hate. And I think, regardless of whether you have 2 million followers or the amount of followers you have, or even I have like 5,000 followers, nothing, but like I still sometimes get random people saying really mean things to me that I never have even met. And I'm sure you get some negativity too. How do you block that out and just kind of keep going? I don't know if you have an answer to that, but
100%. Yeah, with, I don't even want to say fame, with success comes the back end. And, you know, of course we don't talk about these things because why would we? But yeah, I've definitely had my fair share, especially through, there's been a lot of, you know, controversial things that have happened this year, and it's just been a sensitive time. But I always, like you said, I think the most magnetic people are the people who live in alignment with who they are. They don't try to, and there's so, it's even hard for me, like balancing, like, you know, posting a really nice photo of myself and posting real you know,
yeah,
man, it's a journey, especially like, you know, when you start to get more followers and you realize, oh my gosh, like this many people are seeing my story and
yeah,
everything. And I'm mentally, I want to be that person that takes a video in the moment and posts, but
mhm,
I am just always so sensitive to what's happening. And, you know, everyone is so on you now,
yeah, yeah. This
that,
cancel culture that we live in, it's like it's
yeah,
healthy because I feel like people don't think they can really say what they truly think.
100%. And that's sad.
Mhm.
That's sad. But like you said, if you're living in alignment with who you are, I'm so lucky that I feel really safe with the people that follow me
Yeah.
because they're so supportive and so nice. And like you said, if I had 2 million followers that are just random who want to follow me because I have a nice butt or something,
Yeah.
like that isn't in alignment with who I am. And
Yeah.
I think I've shared this before on my Instagram, but one of like the most powerful things that I've come to the realization through this year and through who follow me, um, is that they don't follow me. And I like tear up thinking about
Yeah.
this because I've struggled with my body for so long, and like body image and who I am, and as a dancer staring at yourself in the mirror 24/7 all day long, and it never being good enough and losing weight and the whole journey. And I'm so like not confident with my body, but confident with who I am, that, you know, me doing a workout of 30 minutes online with millions of people to see and moving my body in different ways, like I don't care anymore. And
Mm,
I'm so grateful that the people who are attracted to me and who like me, like see way past
mm,
my body. So
yeah.
they don't look at this girl on Instagram and say, oh, she has an amazing body, like follow. Like
Mhm.
I think that the people who really are attracted to me and are invested in me, like really see the inside of what I do and why I do it and how
Mhm.
passionate I am about helping others in their wellness journey. And
Yeah.
so I think it was like a selfie of me, and I posted this probably 6 months ago, 7 months ago, but really like the turning point was realizing that like these people aren't here because I have a nice body, because I don't have the best body of all the fitness
Yeah.
trainers in the world. Like I have a good body, but like
You
it's
have
not
a
one.
beautiful body, but I
Thank
think
you. Yeah, no,
you
I'm
never
so happy
put
with
like
it.
emphasis on that either. Like
Right.
some people are always like,
Right.
like, you know, like, oh, look at my abs.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
And so it makes
Right.
people feel like, I think there can be so much shame and guilt attached with like wellness and working out, and like, I'm not where I want to be yet, and I'm working out and I feel fat because I just ate like so much the holidays, and I'm watching Alexis with, you know, but I know that you don't have that like mentality of you have to be perfect. And for yourself,
100.
you don't expect other people to
No.
either. And it creates an environment where people feel like they can show up and be themselves. That's why the name of this podcast is Imperfect, because none of us are perfect. The more you embrace your vulnerabilities and your imperfections, the more that people around you can show up and feel like they can be themselves. And that's where there's true power.
100%.
Yeah.
So powerful. I love that.
Yeah. And I also think what you were saying about the followers and like getting people that really align with you, I think I heard someone say one time, the more that you are getting into like your higher consciousness, or you're like more connected to God or more connected to the universe, whatever you want to call it, the more that you're stepping into that path of who you're supposed to be, the more polarizing you become.
Yeah,
So there will
magnetic.
be more people that come and follow you in a line, but then with that, there's going to be a lot of people that are like deterred by that, and the people that
Have we talked about this with your high school friends? Have you and I talked about this?
I don't think so.
I feel like we had a conversation about being vulnerable on Instagram and sharing your life, and how you don't care who sees it, but like for some reason you're like childhood friends and people who you kind of grow up with because you've changed so much, and because now, you know.
Yeah, I think we've had a conversation about this. Those are, which, you know, my friends that I've grown up with are like so amazing and supportive, but I feel like those are the people that I fear their opinions of the most, because it's like, oh, who does she think she is, like telling me what to do and how, like, and it's like anytime that you step out and do something that you really feel called to, that maybe it's been like simmering in you your whole life. And someone who has known you your whole life sees you and you're doing something different than they're used to seeing you doing, it can be threatening to them, but it also can make you feel uncomfortable because you don't want to make them feel like I'm this different person.
100%.
And like
I could have any random stranger look at my content. I don't care, talk, you know, but for some reason it's like your formative years of, you know, those people who knew you when maybe you weren't, you know, fully your whatever it is. It's a little bit, it's just intimidating, I guess.
Yeah, because I feel like it comes back to the imposter syndrome of like, who do I think I am that I can actually do this, that I can lead hundreds and thousands of people in workouts, and that I can have conversations that people feel like they can engage in, and, you know, and all of those things. And I think the people that would most likely to call you out on the fact that, yes, you are in fact an imposter, even though you're not, are the people who've known you your whole life, because they've seen you at your most vulnerable as you're growing, as you've walked through so many different things. But I think I found time and time again that my friends that I truly value their opinions are the ones that are super supportive, and my family is super supportive. And anyone that isn't supportive, whether there's someone that you've known your whole life or a random troll on Instagram. I don't know if you're familiar with Renee Brown, but she puts it so beautifully of when you're stepping out and doing anything vulnerable, creating your own business, you're in the arena, so to speak. And the only other people in the arena that are like fighting with you and like fighting alongside you, none of them are the ones that are pointing fingers at you and saying mean things. It's only the people in the cheap seats who are way too scared to get even close to being in the arena and doing what they want to do. They're the ones that are saying things at you because they're threatened. They see you stepping into your power and what you've dreamed of doing, and they're too scared to do it. So they want to make you feel small. But like, does a hockey player in the middle of the ice listen to people in the cheap seats? Like, no. So Brene Brown says, like, I only listen to other people in the arena. And
an ultimate quote.
Yeah, she's such a boss. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a quote to live by, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for my life. I want to look back and I want to be freaking proud that I stepped out there and did all of these things. And even if I failed, like, it's going to bring me another avenue of something, you know, like,
Exactly. Failures, I
yeah.
think, are never like, we want to call it a failure, but I think a lot of times
Oh,
it's like a starting point to a lesson that was so important to learn so that you can excel forward. Um,
1000%.
and that actually brings me some of my final questions I had for you are just fun little
Yeah.
questions of like, if you could tell 18-year-old Alexis or even 13-year-old Alexis
Oh my
anything,
gosh.
what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Like, it's like so emotional
I
because
know.
if I think back to like child me and like high school me, like I was always the nice girl. I was always like the and you know me, like I really am like to my core, like I care for other people. Like
Yeah,
I'm I always am like so
you really do.
sensitive
You really do.
about others. And but I allowed a lot of people to like step all over me
Mhm.
in my younger years because of how nice I was.
Mhm.
Um and so I would just say to follow your truth and follow what, you know, feels good to you, and don't have any um, you know, regrets in terms of, not regrets. Don't have any what's the word? Where, what am I trying to say?
Don't have
I just,
any like I know what you're trying to say. I don't know the word either, but
I don't know where the
I
word
think
is, but I almost feel, I don't want to feel sorry for little girl me, but I want her to step into her power and feel that what she's doing is 100% on her path, and share that with others. I almost would like recluse into myself because I was intimidated by, you know, what I felt inside of me.
wow.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I'm sure when you're a nice person and you feel like you don't want anyone else to feel uncomfortable,
Well, you just want to fit in.
you just want to fit in, but you
So
don't want to
hard to fit
intimidate
in.
other people. And if you intimidate other
Yeah.
people, then you won't fit in. And girls are brutal at that age. Like they're mean. And so if they're intimidated by you, they'll make you know it. And if guys are intimidated by you at that age, you'll also like, you don't want to intimidate the guys. So I feel like, again, it gets back to like caring, still caring, but not caring what other people think of you.
Yeah, that's basically little what I'm telling myself as a child. Like, yeah, caring, but also like do your thing, girl. Like, don't,
Mhm.
you can't stress about that. That was a major for me, is caring so much about what others thought,
Mhm.
whether I'm, you know, what I'm doing. And it's like, oh man, like that's the biggest one for me, that I think as an adult, like, do go do you,
Mhm.
and who is aligned with you, like we've been talking about this whole time, will follow, you
Right.
know.
I love that.
That's it.
Yeah. It all mic drop.
Boom.
I also
Yeah.
always ask people like if they can have listeners be left with one last piece of advice. I'm sure it would be something similar, but is there anything else in final you want to add to anyone who's currently following along on this journey?
Yeah, stay true to you, and yeah, exactly what we just said. Who's aligned with you will follow, and what's meant for you will always be.
Yeah.
It's so important, and it's so cliche, but it's so important to know that
Mhm.
what the universe, what God wants for you is right there, and you have to embrace it. If
Mhm.
we're constantly working for others, or, you know, do it,
Yeah.
find you and follow that. So
Yeah.
important.
Amen. I love that.
Amen.
Well, thank
I
you,
love you.
Alexis, so much for joining me. And how can people that are listening, where can they find you on Instagram, on your online platform? How
Mhm,
can they work
mhm.
out with you? All the things.
Yeah. Thank you. So at Lexfish is my Instagram handle, Lexfish. And then from there, you can go to the link in my biography, and it'll take you to my website, my on-demand site. I'm actually thinking about changing my site name, because right now it's my full name, alexisrayfisher.com. but it's a kind of long and confusing, and everyone knows me as Lexfish. So I might change my site to just lexfish.com if I can get the domain purchased.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that, and join my January challenge if you want.
Yes, I will be there with you. Yay! So you won't regret it. She will make you sweat for sure.
Yeah. Well, then I love you. Thank you so much.
I adore you so much. Bye, everyone.
I adore you. Let's hang out when you're in LA.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone.